everyone. I'm Angela Kirkian, Director of Education at PPA, and today I'm so excited that I get to introduce you to Stacy Pierce. Stacy, thank you so much for joining us. You're so awesome. The reason that we're excited to introduce you guys to Stacy is because she's going to be one of our speakers at Imaging USA 2021. And she's going to do a fantastic branding class. I've had the most amazing conversations with Stacy. And she's doing a pre-con for us. So Stacy, I was laughing because I was looking at my production notes here. And one of the quotes I wrote down from one of our conversations was, do not be a branding hot mess.
Yeah. Don't do it. It's tempting. It's tempting, but don't do it. Don't be a branding hot mess.
Let's start there. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited for our audience to get to know you a little bit better and be excited for your class that you're teaching.
Yes.
So let's start kind of at the beginning, just how you got started in photography and because you have had an amazing ride.
You know what? I absolutely have. I used to kind of cower and kind of slink down in my seat because I didn't have like a photography background at all. But I have to say, like, real talk, like everybody doesn't have the same path. And so my background is, I literally had a successful Fortune 100 career as a pharmaceutical sales rep, moving up the ladder from year to year to year. And after literally just feeling like, and people always say, I wanted to follow my passion and I found photography because it sounds real cool and it sounds really fluffy and amazing, but real talk, I was so frustrated, like making more money than I ever have in all of my life as a pharmaceutical sales rep. But there was just something that seemed like no matter what it was I was achieving, it just seemed to not be good enough to get the validation that I wanted. I mean, to the point that I kept pushing and pushing and pushing until I pushed so hard that I ended up having actually right before getting behind the wheel, seizures that changed my life, which no one could have ever convinced me was stress related. And I decided if I get through this, I'm not going back. And in that decision, I got better and made a decision that I was going to do something that I felt like just lit me up inside, even if it meant I have to start all over again. And in that decision, I just kind of had an idea. I've always been the kid who loved photography, but never could afford a camera. I was the kid who literally would spend all of my money on the disposable cameras and had to go and couldn't wait until they get developed. And I'd call and go, are they ready yet? I was actually that kid. And so when I made the decision to do something that I loved, it turned out to actually be photography. So I literally decided to leave and jump in, really just take the dive with no net. So without knowing how to use a camera or even owning one, I made a decision. I'm going to buy a camera, use my savings, buy a camera, figure out how to use it and make this thing happen. And so that is literally how I started. And when I started, of course, everybody said, you got to do weddings. And so I did all the stuff and all the things that everybody said I was supposed to do.
The hardest thing. You have to do the hardest thing if you're going to do that.
And I thought, okay, my very, very first thing that I ever photographed was my sister's wedding. For anybody who's considering that, or you're just starting, don't do that. Just don't do that. Don't do it.
Right.
But we're many of us that are here in this space, we're creatives and we know we're overachievers, or we can take a challenge head on. But one of the things that I learned from that, was if I can do this thing now and start to actually get known a little bit, in my area, but it was the thing that was making me the most money, but it was causing me the most unrest.
Right.
And I decided I am only going to shoot the things that absolutely keeps me up at night from excitement, that literally lights me up. And the thing that I found that got me to where I am now is people who wanted headshots. And they wanted, you know, the real glamour shot stuff. And I mean, it would literally just, I would just start to get a headache going, I cannot. Like, I cannot do
I cannot.
I, I can't do that shot. Or this shot, you look, something's real, like I can't. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna give the client what they want. But then I decided, hey, why don't I just ask the client, can you just give me just like 10 minutes so I can do the type of photography that I think really actually says who you are? And they go, wait, for free, right? You mean you're not gonna charge me? I said, totally for free. It's like, if you don't like them, you don't like them. And it turned out that I made it clear that I wanted to do something fierce, something really dope that wasn't, you know, like what everybody else does, but something that I felt like presented and showed the type of personality that was truly them versus doing something that they saw everybody else do. Right. And it turned out that not only were those the images I had the most fun creating, but they were the images that the client loved the most. And I decided, this is, you know, I don't care what anybody says, this is a real thing. And I stopped taking any more contracts for photography, finished that out. And I decided there are some people in the online space who truly need images that actually tell the story of who they are, of who they truly are, and attracts the type of client that they want, that stand out, that says something about who they are in the images. And that was kind of like a whole genre of photography that was created that truly to this very day is still something that people are talking about. It's like very trendy, but there's still so much that people don't know about branding. Right. And specifically about branding photography and allowing it to like how to actually even add it to your existing list of services that you provide, but also even just from a business owner and you branding yourself. So
well, I know, because you are like, you epitomize this whole branding thing. Like you just exude this magic.
I'll bring it on down.
Love it. I love it. You're, you know, but I do want to just go back because I really want to, you're just such an inspiration. You're an inspiration to people who maybe want to get into this, but are unsure. You know, you're an inspiration to, I think, all artists to really own their place as a professional doing the thing that they love doing. And so thank you for like kind of holding ground for that, because it's hard to say no. I mean, weddings can be lucrative, right? But to choose to not do something that gives you that pain and to choose something that gives you joy has proven to be so successful for you. You know, you are, and I've only known you a short time, but, and we've joked, I'll tell you guys later about the whole best friend comment, but we've joked that she's my new best friend, but I didn't say it first. But you truly are that person who exudes this beautiful energy immediately. I mean, we saw a video, so I'll tell you guys now. We actually saw her video for the application to speak at Imaging USA. And literally after watching her video, one of the committee members said, I just want to be her best friend. Because you're very authentic, you're very sincere, you believe it, you love it, and you want to do the same thing for other people. You want to help them do the thing that you're getting to do, which is be genuine and sincere and real in their jobs, which you've really opened the door for them to be able to do it. So I love that, and I appreciate you so much. And again, that's why I'm so excited to introduce you to our audience here. So let's go back, because one of the things that in our conversations, we were emailing back and forth, I think, initially, and at the bottom of your signature, you had a link there, and it looked like a video, and I thought, oh, let me take a look at this. And so I clicked on it, and no joke, like I literally went to a video that was of you photographing, and it was so fun to watch. And then like another one of your videos came up, and then I sat there and I watched that one, and I think I sat there for like 25 minutes watching videos of you, and I thought, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. Like, I have gone down this, just spent all this time really kind of getting to know you, getting to know your work, and getting to know your clients. And so, and then in our subsequent phone calls, talking about that photographers don't do enough video of themselves and how important and really what that's meant in your career.
which is funny, like people like probably who are here, like going, who want to know more about branding photography. Like so much of where I am now actually has a direct result to do with not, hiring an amazing film team and, a crew to, who can get some B-roll and all the stuff and things and the lights. And the one thing that real talk I tell everybody is, okay, first of all, let me just say, it is really difficult for me to lie. Like, even if I try, you're gonna see it all over my face. You're gonna be like, really? Like, why is she, why is she even trying? But seriously, I was one of those people who didn't even let people know for a long time that I was actually considering myself to be a photographer, because I knew what that meant is I now got to open myself up to be criticized and judged and, all the stuff and things. And when you follow the people who've got lots and lots of followers and, everybody kind of wants to get to at least 10,000. Let me just be clear that as of this day, right now, I have less than 5,000 followers on Instagram. I think I may have the same amount on Facebook. But my point of sharing that is because as we start or we're doing a thing and trying to hone our craft, we then follow people, of course, that we love. And usually those people that we love have bigger followings and they're doing all the stuff and things with all the staff and, lots of resources at their disposal. And what happens so easily is we start judging our chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 21. And then we will end up standing still and not doing anything. Okay, now I'm going to get emotional. Because literally, there are people who are literally waiting for what you have to give that doesn't look like anybody else. It's not like the person who has 10,000 followers, that there is somebody who just needs exactly what you have. And I just took a minute and just decided what do I have?
Yeah.
What do I have that I could use right now? Instead of looking at what I don't have, what can I use right now? And it was my phone, the video from my phone. Literally, that every single person that is hearing the sound of my voice right now literally has access to is the same thing I use, and figured I can't complain about the money or the resources I don't have if I don't actually start using just the free stuff. And literally decided, okay, well, I'll just, do some videos because, I hate writing. I absolutely, it's not even normal. I will go on video in a second to prevent from having to write, but
that is so the opposite, I think, of most people. Most people are like, oh, please don't do video. I don't want to have to do video.
and here's what is aside from, because in fact, I know most people prefer not to be seen because you don't want to show up. But I had to consider the algorithms on all the social media platforms favor video. What can I do to give myself an advantage? And I also tell people, don't get hung up in the algorithms like that, because that changes just as quickly as once you've learned what they are and how they work, then they change again. Right. But the thing is just to actually show up. And I don't care what anybody says or how many hacks people have about posts, how many times a day, what it's supposed to be, what you're supposed to share. There is something about video that connects people in a way that just kind of cuts through some of the BS to me. Absolutely. And I truly believe that it is not so much because my work is the dopest ever in life. I just think it is because I get to show up in a way that people get to see the imperfection. And sometimes done is better than none. And if you just start from that space, you'll even if all you do is get on video and say hello to your just to reach out to people and just let them thank your clients, tell them what you do, tell them what you got planned coming up for the rest of the year. You'd be surprised at how you connect with people who never otherwise would have actually just scrolled and kept going.
Well, video has opened up a lot of doors for you. We were talking earlier about some awards that you've won,
Oh my
right?
gosh! And in fact, I'll share that the thing that I mentioned to you, I didn't even win the award. I didn't even win it. I just got nominated for it. But I have to share. I have to share this. So I don't have a studio, and I used to not want to tell people that I was a photographer, because the first question is always, "Oh, so where's your studio?" And then the second question is, have you shot any photographed any celebrities? No, 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 and no. And I I got really jealous that people could bring their clients in and do their reviews and pick the images. And I decided, you know what, I don't have any of that. But what I could do is I could use this Facebook Live thing. I could take a client's images, and instead of putting it into a gallery and hitting send, and then I don't know what their reaction is and if they like it or not, you can see on social media, what if I get the same feeling of sitting in front of the client, watching their reaction, if I did a Facebook Live and did a live image reveal where clients see their images for the first time live? They can hate it or like it, but see it live, while everybody else who chimes in gets to see it all for the first time. And it turned out to be such an amazing thing that the client saw the value in taking the risk to be vulnerable, but they also saw that it was a way to extend their reach, because people would show up, my audience would show up for the live reveals to see who's going to be revealed, and would then get introduced to a whole entire different reach and audience that some end up becoming their clients. So it was
because all of your just to let our audience know, all of your clients are small business owners, right?
Yes, and I guess I'm so sorry. I guess I should have. Yeah. So I made a decision to niche. Several years ago, when people said, "Oh, that'll never work," but I specifically, I have a passion for creating badass business images for online entrepreneurs who want to stand out in the online space. And so it's specifically people who are looking to build their brand and their reach. So, and it's funny how when you feel more confident about your imagery, it is so amazing how people tend to show up on their platforms more, because they feel more comfortable. It feels good to present a good image with your post. And so it has this cool, like dual, almost synergetic effect, because not only do the clients feel good about the session and feel good about showing up online with a certain confidence, but you tend to post more when you've got more images that you feel like you rocked. And that is literally what I do. I create specifically business images that rock. That is like, my goal is for it to be non-boring and non-blah. And not everybody knows how to do that. And so that is one of the things I'm super excited about, being able to show up and share with the PPA audience next year, that, some people don't actually know, number one, what branding is or understand it, and show up like as a hot ass mess. Oh, I'm sorry, my son's not supposed to say that, but they do, and you just can't. It is not, branding is not, okay, I'm so embarrassed. I am so embarrassed, but branding, it is not a photo shoot. And so you can't just meet someone at a random location and just take some shots and go to the coffee shop and have the coffee mug, and that's going to be there's your branding photo shoot. Not the case. And so one of the things that I am looking forward to being able to do is to not just share truly what branding is, but how people can show up better, not just for their own brand, but literally how to take the true essence of a client and their business and tell that story through images and make it fun.
I can't imagine anything you do is not fun. You have just this bright heart, and I love every conversation I ever have with you. It's so awesome. I wanted to go over a couple other notes before our time is up, because we were talking earlier just about the importance that mentoring has taken in your life, and some steps that you took that really helped you leap forward.
Yeah. Okay. And this is, and I was going to say, I get pretty passionate about this, but clearly I get passionate about everything.
I love it. That's why I love every conversation with you.
but truly one of the things that I didn't tell people, like for a while, that I spent money on programs and mentoring and things like that, because the first thing everybody goes is, oh, you can just get that online. Like you can just Google it. Listen, I love that we have YouTube and the fact that we have Google, but it can only get you so far. That is my personal experience. And I can't say enough about getting from behind the computer and connecting in real life and allowing somebody to see the thing that you don't even know you need help with. And
right.
You're Googling stuff and things, you're Googling the thing that you think that you need. And there you get to a certain point where you can watch videos, but sometimes there really is something specifically that you need help with that you really can't get to the next step. You're just learning what you see, but having a mentor, it truly, to this very day, one of the best investments that I feel like you will ever make is in yourself. And by allowing someone to see things that you would never see, it could open up a whole world that, I mean, and I'm talking from my very first, which is so funny how, like, I couldn't imagine $99. Like, I can't spend $99 for an in-person little mentor session. I mean, for real, it was like a big deal to me, like $99, what? And like, it was literally my very first, the very first course I ever took was actually just finding a local camera store to actually help me figure out how to actually turn the camera on, and I'm not kidding, and how to use the buttons. And it literally changed it changed my entire life. And I didn't know what it was I wanted to do, but I was right there for that class. And at the end of the class, I walked outside, sat in the car, and just cried my little eyeballs out and said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I don't even know how I'm supposed to do it. And then there was a knock on my window, and I looked up, and it was the instructor. She goes, are you okay? I said, yeah, yep. She goes, okay. I just wanted to make certain wanted to make certain you were okay. Like, and so I rolled my window down. She goes, if there's anything that you need if you decide to take, just let us know. You can come assist, you can do all the stuff and it changed my whole life. That led me to investing in mentoring that went beyond a single class, but just for more of a longer term, because sometimes you can't get everything you need in one setting. It is a continuing process. And so, like, I have so many stories, but investing in my mentoring ended up allowing me to win a Breakthrough of the Year contest, just based on not how many sessions I did or how much money and am I a six-figure and all the stuff and things, but just what was my own breakthrough, which was realizing that we can keep doing what everybody else is doing to feel comfortable and to get validation, but validation is for parking, and that you're going to have to step out and figure out who it is that you are and how to best show up as yourself. And because I was actually able to do that, and share my story through a video, it allowed me, I got voted to as the Breakthrough of the Year by an audience of like 300 other entrepreneurs who felt that my story was the most inspiring and was the grand prize winner.
And that wasn't a small grand prize. That was a hefty sum.
It was beyond, and I hope that I will have an opportunity to share even more about that. But the thing that I want people to know is that the true win, while $20,000, I can't think of anybody who doesn't want $20,000, and especially now, considering that so many people are, trying to fund their dreams and keep the lights on. But the true win for me was the fact that I almost didn't hit the submit button to apply for the contest, because I knew someone who had made a $250,000, just doing their thing, just taking a chance and doing a beta for their course. And here, my little course, had 15 people. But it turns out, guys, that sometimes the big win cannot be quantified in the number of followers that you have. It cannot be quantified in the number of shares and likes. You are going to have to do the thing and believe that even though you may not have the followers today, that your brand matters and you are your brand. It's not the photo shoot. It's not all the stuff that we think, but it's you showing up, and that you may not be the person who, stands up in front of a crowd of 10,000, but you might be the person who influences the one, who then influences the 1,000, who then influences the 10,000. So, okay, I'm getting a little, I might throw some confetti because I'm starting to get a little emotional.
Stacy, I appreciate you so much. You are such a bright, bright light, and I value so much your authenticity, your sincerity, your desire to give and to share and to pay it forward, and what you bring. And so for all of those reasons and more, we're going to be so excited to see you at Imaging USA. Is there any other last piece of advice you'd give our audience as they are kind of, working through everything that we're dealing with in our world right now, and just kind of staying positive and continuing to take steps?
I say this jokingly, and you'll probably edit this out, but find some Black friends. Like, in fact, I'll be your friend. Like real talk. I know, like, with a lot of things that are going on now, I don't want to miss the opportunity to say that the world is changing. And if we can talk about how the world is changing digitally on, this platform, and when there's something cool and new on Instagram that's trendy, or on Facebook, we can talk about this thing that affects every single one of us.
Yes, ma'am.
And I happen to know some Black friends, and I'm one of those people who, because I know everybody doesn't want to feel like it's their responsibility to ask questions or make everybody feel comfortable. But I've been in this role for a really, really long time. And as I moved up the corporate ladder, it was not uncommon at all to be the only little peppered color. I mean, it was just the more and more of that story that the higher up I went. So I was always trying to make people feel uncomfortable and let them know I actually really, I really am cool. But more than anything, to show there's so much more that we have in common. We've actually got to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And get comfortable being uncomfortable. Yeah. And whether that is learning a new thing in this space, in photography, whether that is any new role, but this in particular, it is so important just to stay open and know that there is some way in your own personal space that you can be a part of the change that goes beyond a like and a share and changing your profile picture and using hashtag. People actually want you to show up in your own way, and everybody can. It's just about figuring out how.
What that looks like. I'm going to share this story because you and I talked about this story, and I don't know exactly. I'm going to just tell the story, and then we could talk. Okay. It was the ladder story. I was listening to that podcast, and do you remember we talked about this?
Yes.
I was listening to a podcast, and Elizabeth Gilbert was actually the guest on, and she was talking about she was walking down the street, and there was a man up on a ladder, and he was doing something, and she thought, he doesn't look super safe up there. I think I'm going to stop and I'll just hold the ladder for a second, just because I'll feel better if I'm holding the ladder, because so she stood there for a minute, and he finished what he was doing, and as he was finishing, she let go of the ladder and she walked away. And she the whole conversation was about purpose. What is our purpose in life? And she says, she says we shouldn't be worrying about trying to pursue our purpose. We should be, pursuing wonder and curiosity, because our purpose, maybe she says her only purpose in this life was in that moment to hold the ladder for that man. He didn't even know she was there. He didn't even know. Maybe her entire purpose in the world was just to hold the ladder and make sure he was safe in that moment.
Right.
And I love that story so much because I think we think these big things, but sometimes it's just the small things.
Yeah.
It's just the daily, loving, wonderful, kind, small things.
And I really, like, I hadn't heard that before you told me that, but I've told that now, that story at least a good 5 times to a total of probably now about 50 women, like through Zoom
Yeah.
calls and meetings, and everybody just go, what if I mean, what if it is just the
Yeah.
smallest thing that you do by showing up that is really, and more than anything, I want people to think about, like the long term, like not so much the urgency to, I gotta do something right now, but think,
Right.
Like your purpose if you may have some, I don't know, be aware of it like down the road, but think about it now, and it could be a small thing that could literally change everything. And so just to be open. But I love that. I love that
I
story.
love
Like,
it.
what if my purpose is just to hold the ladder? Like,
It's a lot to think about,
it
right?
is.
But it also kind of keeps you paying attention. Where am I going to make a difference? Where am I going to make a difference? And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be huge, because
And
like
when,
you said earlier, it could be something small with a ripple
yeah,
effect,
really.
right?
And to tie it into like real talk to photography and um specifically with like PPA, like I was one of those people. Like when this everything happened as far as like small businesses and COVID,
Yeah.
I had to take a moment and just start going through, things that were a little excessive, and had to get rid of memberships and subscriptions for this, that, and the other, and this thing. And I remember getting to my PPA membership and literally thinking, okay, I could, like, that could actually be food. Like, what if I won't have any? And then I realized, oh yeah, no, like nobody in my family is gonna listen. Food, I will not starve, no matter what is gonna happen. I will not miss a meal. Okay, like that's not gonna happen. Like that ain't happening. I love to eat too much. I will find a way. But I considered, like, I should get rid of this because it'll save me money. One of the best decisions that I ever did. And what's so fun is just on a webinar, a webinar that PPA made a decision to do versus all the stuff and things. I was able to take, and I hope I can share one day because it'll be too long, but it literally changed everything for me during COVID, because the team at PPA saw the value of not just continuing to do just random things that were already on the schedule, but to change course and pivot to show up to provide information that we really, really needed. And, like, it's, as small business owners, I got, like, there's some stuff that I can't know everything. Just learning photography alone was like a lot. So trying to know all the stuff and things to do as a business owner, it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
But PPA literally showed up for me in a way that I don't even know if I could ever convey. And some of it has allowed me to actually literally be here today to still keep showing up for clients who actually, in the big scope of things, don't even really need a photo shoot, but they need someone to give them the confidence to keep moving in the next thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what I get to do as a photographer. I'm
Yeah.
not here to solve your life problems or give you the whole world from your photo shoot, but I actually will help you see who you are, and I'll make you look like a dope self by doing it. And sometimes I think, like, what if my job was just to make this person feel good enough to keep going, to take the very next step. So I'm so appreciative of PPA and just how you've been able to be here for me in a way I never would have imagined.
You are so wonderful, Stacy. Thank you so much for this amazing conversation. As I said earlier, every conversation I have with you is just inspiring and encouraging. And I just appreciate you. I can't wait for everyone else to meet you at Imaging USA.
Okay, so excited.
All right, my friend, we got to run. But again, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Bye.